I truly think this movie will gain way more steam when it hits home video. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Renfield. So what is this movie about? Pretty simple, actually. You have Dracula and Renfield. It didn't really say when they first met. I want to say probably in the 1800s, but Renfield is basically Dracula's bitch. And what that means is take care of him, feed him, and do whatever Dracula needs. And now they are in New Orleans because whenever something horrible happens, they got to move towns. But now Renfield found Awkwafina's character, which I totally forgot her first name already. Quincy? I think it was Quincy. It's her last name, so let's go with Quincy. And now love ensues, but however, a lot of gangs in New Orleans, and Dracula might need help from one of them because Renfield is going on the light side. So, did I like this film? I thought it was a poppy, fun, just silliness of a time, and everyone knew what this movie was supposed to be. There was no characters that were like, I know this is going to be a serious movie. No. Nicolas Cage knew he was playing Dracula. He went full Nicolas Cage. You have Nicolas Hoult, who knew he was playing Renfield, kind of the happy-go-lucky guy that doesn't want to be in that position anymore. He played his part well. Awkwafina, you could say maybe she overacted a little bit in some scenes, but I think overall it is a fun movie that it's really hard to complain about because the whole hour and a half, it zoomed by. I had fun. And yes, are there nitpicks? Sure. And we are going to talk to them before we talk about or after we talk about the positives. Positives. Nicolas Cage as Dracula. There are so many times when he just killed it. I mean, killed it as Dracula. It was a fantastic choice. And if Universal wants to go that dark universe route, 100% use Nicolas Cage. Maybe it's not as dark as they want it to be. It's a little bit more comical. I don't care. Dracula being the sidekick of the bad monsters, being the little witty one, it should 100% work. And bring Renfield back into it. I think that's just a fun little dynamic. I think the storytelling really works. It does feel a little bit too set piecious. Oh, piecious? But we'll talk about the negatives. The action, when it was there, that's another part where it's like, it's good, but I wish it did a little bit more because of the jump cut edits. But there's one thing I can say, it looked good, it was paced really well, and the acting was really, really good. I'm not going to go really in deep with this interview because Renfield's probably been reviewed by so many people already. So let's talk about kind of the negatives and why people might not like it. I think that's more of the interesting part. The editing of the action sequences. If I'm not mistaken, Chris McKay, he did the Lego Batman movie before this movie. Okay, fine, whatever. Going more into the realm of, real life actors. I don't know if he knew how to direct an action sequence. And that's unfortunate because there's a really good one in an apartment complex that could have been really fleshed out. Not so many jump cuts, but they decided to go a little bit more of the jump cutty route. And that's not just with that one. That one could have been really, really fun. The gore was fantastic. There was fun, elements to it. Then the one you see in the trailer where he's like, spinning in the air and the scissors are flying by. It's another one of those, editing choices where you're like, let it flesh out. Let these action sequences flesh out. It's hard to compare this to John Wick, but John Wick, wide shots, they just let it flow. It's time to let action sequences flow. Let them flow. And I think we would be a lot better as a society. People might be annoyed with Awkwafina's side character or her side story. I wasn't too mad about it. I mean, yeah, it was there. I'm also one of those suckers where people are like, it's a Transformers movie. There should be more Transformers and less human characters, man. And I'm like, nah, you need human characters to, connect with the audience. You need connection. And that's what Awkwafina was trying to do, is connect with the audience. And some of her dialogue was a little forced, like, shut the fuck up, Kevin! And stuff like that. Or was it Kyle? It was Kyle. But, I still kind of enjoyed it, but I understand how some people might not like it. Oh, yeah, and finally, the story element. You can say, yeah, it paces really well, but there's a lot of stuff where someone says something about a character, and then it flushes out to absolutely nothing. So what I mean by that is, for a fact Renfield has been killing people to feed Dracula. So there's something comes up in the story about, oh my god, you found evidence to a serial killer. but then it kind of just disappears. Like, you would think that something would happen with that storyline, but nothing happens. So it's hard to take this movie seriously because it knows it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows what's supposed to be. It does it right. So I highly recommend Renfield. But I feel like this is one of the movies where people are probably timid going into it. But once they see it, they're going to recommend it. And I think it's going to be like a Pitch Perfect where it truly gains steam after the theatrical release. So Renfield will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 70%. Let's see what the critics' news scores gave this one. What the fuck? So you have critics a 60% with 180 of them. Audience score 80% with over 100. Here's critic consensus. Although it fails to take full advantage of its committed stars and killer premise, Renfield's baddie horror comedy blend sinks in just enough to leave an impression. Sure, this dropped drastically. I could have sworn it was like a 92% at the beginning of the week. That dropped, 32 points. Fascinating. So we have a 60, 70, 80. Chase out with the blue futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know things Butontopia. You blue futon, take a watch for a great day. That's freaking gross. I just walked my dog, like, in a mile. So maybe that's why. But I shouldn't be tired. I shouldn't be. But whatever. Go see Renfield, though, if you really want just a silliness, gore fest. Just, oh yeah, the CGI gore. Give me some, and there are some practical effects, I guess. But, yeah, I'm a practical type of guy.